I don't want to chase you off with that part, right? Because this is great stuff. With that said, Dr. Bullock, I'm going to bring you on, and don't forget, folks, to drop your questions in the chat there, and passing it on off to you, Doc. Thank you.
Hey, Joe, just confirm you can see my slide good.
I can.
Okay, good. Hey, great to see you again. Got a photo of you in the presentation. Um, what I thought we'd do, we got about 20 minutes. The big data analytics, I would say, kind of subtitle that, I would say a picture book approach to incident management. I like graphics, and so what I'm going to do is kind of talk a little bit about the team behind the presentation, some stats and what we've done. Big picture message on incident management after actions is, I would say, do more good ones and do them frequently, because there's some good stories to share out there, and then learn from the less good ones. So I always start out these presentations with a team introduction. I pulled together a collection of slides that several people here have helped me with. And Joe, I think you had a chance to meet just about all of these folks when you were with us in Indianapolis. And Joe put a picture of you and Grady in here from that October 30th workshop. You're there in the blue shirt there, and I guess day one there in the audience. So before I kind of go into some of the details, we do after actions on a weekly basis. And just looking over the last year, I had Miles pull some stats, and we've done 151 after actions distributed there. Most of them crashes, but it's a variety of other instances. I'm going to go through a couple of those today just to show what we're doing in that after action space. And I would say, as we're talking through after actions, I mean, there's a lot of folks that do after actions out there. I've got flashing up in the lower right corner just a video of, it's a little bit like a Where's Waldo of Where's the Hoosier Helper, the Motorist Assistance Patrol off on the side of the road responding to an incident. Vast majority of incidents out there are, like you just saw, maybe changing a flat tire, but then occasionally we have some fairly significant ones. Probably the messages that I want you to take away from today's TIM webinar is connected vehicle data is really valuable data for kind of filling in key pieces of information. Also, snapshots and the images you're seeing on the screen there in the lower right, we record images about every 2 minutes, so just a snapshot. We find those to be incredibly valuable for kind of pulling out details. And then there's a variety of others. This commercial dash cams are coming on the scene, National Weather Service data. Crash reports, dispatch records, those are kind of traditional ones. Occasional USC imagery, and even audio recording we're starting to drop in now. So with that, I will now kind of jump into what I think is probably maybe our densest slide. Rahul helped put this one together. And it's showing kind of a picture book approach of cars traveling along a road over here, in this case, I-69, northeast of Indianapolis. Time is along the horizontal axis, mile markers along the vertical axis, and you can read off factoids on these things. You can certainly see over here when the incident starts. You can see when it ends. You can see how far back the queue extends. This blue circle, where we see no color or no vehicle trajectories there, that shows that the road is closed. We have a legend down here that shows the speed. So my quick way of reading these, I think Joe's heard me say this, green is good, reds and purples are less good. So you get a very quick, at a glance view of what time the incident started, what time it ended, and then spatially how far back it went. This particular road closure you see there happened at about 6:20, probably about just almost an hour in. It's a 12-minute closure. And then you see when the road reopened. So I I'm going to carry these heat maps in kind of a static form through the rest of the presentation, but I hope you'll kind of remember these key points on being able to extract out how far back it went, and then that total duration. Those are valuable performance metrics that we pull out that can map into some of the TIM stuff. The other thing I want to talk about here is I'm going to give very Indiana-centric examples, but this scales nationwide. We have a pool fund study going on. We routinely every week do after actions in our pool fund state partners, and we do these heat maps every single week with truck data. Debbie Horton is going to drop in the chat a couple of the LinkedIn links. Here's a weather event that impacted Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee. Here's one that Gerard put together that impacted several states along I-70 all the way down and pulled in some dash cam images. And then this is a post that Rahul put together looking at work zone striping. The foundation of most of these after actions that we do is connected vehicle data. Connected trucks are used quite regularly. We've ingested about 84 billion connected truck data over the last couple years. Just to give you an idea of what 1 minute of connected truck data looks like in the US. And I pulled this just a few minutes ago. Missouri, I-70, typical section of I-70 has 6,000 trucks a week. That's 36 trucks an hour, or about a truck every 2 minutes. And we can do even better with connected vehicle data. The reason that is important is it really helps us pull out those key TIM performance measures. When did the incident occur? The awareness of it, the verification, all the way down to not only when the last responder left the scene, but when traffic flow resumes or returns. Many times that T0 and T7 are really hard to get, but we can, with connected vehicle data, get that. With connected truck data, usually within about 2-minute accuracy. With connected car data, sub-minute accuracy. So now I'm going to talk about a couple examples, and one of the factoids I always like to talk about on interstates is crash rates go up by a factor of 24 when we have stopped traffic on the interstate. We always want to keep that front of the incident safe for first responders. We never want to compromise safety at the scene, but every minute counts on restoring traffic because bad things can happen at the back of the queue. And this is a after action that Rahul put together a couple years ago on I-70. Actually, my daughter was in the back of the queue, not involved in any of these incidents, but I was nervous dad waiting for her to arrive as I knew there was an incident unfolding out there. And I'll just kind of show you in connected vehicle data, and then I will show you some images on how we visualize these after actions. And this one, not at all uncommon. We had a engine or a car fire, that first circle, and then we had a secondary crash. And kind of the punchline is the secondary crash was much more severe than the simple car fire. Pulled the traditional CAD reports, et cetera, crash reports, and put together stats on it. Pulled together the crash report. But this is what I really want to take you through, kind of that unfolding incident. And I'm going to bring this black line is going to kind of move across this heat map. So if we see right here, it's 9:16 a.m. This is the screen scrape, also corresponds to our timestamp on the camera. You can see the engine fire in this truck, mostly on the shoulder. It's in a work zone, a little bit problematic. And you can see vehicles have stopped for an assist. You can see white. There's no vehicles moving right there. No data is information. Few vehicles may be wiggling around that. 9:18, no first responders on the scene yet. Cars are still going along. 9:20. 9:22, we see the first fire engine on scene. You can see you can actually see on here, you can see the hoses out, and you can just, if you compare, you see the black smoke. Joe, it'll jump out to you. You see the white smoke, so you know they got water on the fire. This point, the fire's probably substantially out. If you recall, that vehicle is on the shoulder. Again, never want to second guess this. First, you always want first responder safety, but once you've got the fire out and everybody's safe, then you really do want to be thinking about, okay, what can we do to kind of restore traffic? And we'll see some activity here. Starting to pull back. 9:36, so we're 20 minutes in or so now. Hoses are all picked up at this point. Probably an opportunity. You got some cars doing some U-turns. They've got the wrecker on scene. Both lanes are still closed. And now they have the vehicle on there, and it's off. Scene was safe. Nobody got hurt there. But the rest of the story here on this after action here is, if we look at the back of the queue, we had an unfortunate high-speed collision at the back of the queue, almost at the point of recovery. So here we had a rear impact crash with stop traffic. These are the ones where you can have quite severe injuries. You got traffic traveling, pick your number, 60, 70 miles an hour, impacting the rear of a vehicle. If we had taken 9 minutes, we'd taken 9 minutes off that lane closure, maybe got one lane open when they were doing the recovery. Just 9 minutes of impact of that would have precluded having stopped traffic at that time of incident. So again, not trying to second guess, don't have all the details. It's just, I use this point to say minutes count out there on that response to an incident, because you always want to keep the incident safe, but you also want to be thinking about what other incidents might be happening that could have additional impact. I'll move on to a second one. This one is in the Indianapolis area, I-65. Miles put this together. This was a car fire, fairly similar type scenario. If you see here, 2 fire engines in. I've kind of done the abbreviated version on this one. Just arriving there, you see the black smoke. So this is the ITS camera image kind of from the start of this. Trucks off the shoulder of the road, black smoke, flames visible. Attempt to get the fire out there, probably not enough juice in the fire extinguisher. Fire resumes. Fire department's on scene. 8:21, and within 2 minutes, that the fire is out. Very quick cleanup out of there. Back up just a little bit. You've got the Hoosier helper right here. You'll see in a second that additional fire engine clears. That lane is open, so now they have 2 lanes flowing. And the fire department's gone. State police is out there, and then traffic's restored, and then subsequently there's the wrecker comes along and recovers. Arguably a very good response. These are the sorts of after actions we do all the time. Like I said, almost there's many good success stories out there. We find these to be very helpful. I use these all the time in class, sharing with students on this, but I also, we're trying to put together a library of these on the various types so that agencies have them for after action review. I'll do one last one. This is a bridge slide off, icy bridge slide off miles put together in the Indianapolis area. This one, a little bit of a lesson learned on this one because the vehicle was entangled in a median cable barrier, and it took a little bit of time to get out there to release the cable. Section of road, you can see after a light snow, if you look right there where Miles has got that arrow pointing right there is the vehicle. We actually had the camera positioned so we can see that it out there, and really didn't have too much of an impact initially. You can on traffic, you can see there is snow's right up to the edge line there, right on a curve. This is one where good lesson on this one is these median cable barriers absolutely save lives, but they are a little bit of a challenge for first responders and tow trucks when vehicles get tangled up in them. This one took a little bit longer to respond to because they had to get staff out to release the cable. But I'll just kind of step through this. State police stops, and then this is on a curve. Again, really good emergency response by the Hoosier Helper. Again, these guys do a lot of good work every single day that they don't always get recognized for. It's kind of fun. I showed this one at INDOT a couple days later, and the guy that was actually working that Saturday says, I responded to that scene. So I'll tell you, Joe, there is nothing like positive reinforcement when you can share these kind of stories with some of the staff that are doing this day in, day out. Good job protecting the scene. He's got the cones out. A little distorted here because it's a long camera zoom on this one. And then I'll step through, again, this incident went on a little bit longer than maybe was ideal because there was a safety issue with getting that vehicle released because it was tangled up in the cable median barrier. And then they ultimately get the vehicle out of there. And then the scene is cleared. So I'm going to kind of wrap up right now, and I'm just going to give you one glimpse of the future. I got about 2 minutes left on my talk. I talked about the key data elements here. I can't emphasize enough how important we find these images. We capture them every 2 minutes. We don't record video from the TMC, but we snap them every 2 minutes. Those are good enough for kind of providing that Memorex rollback, what actually happened out there beyond the traditional crash reports and dispatch records. The other thing, the new frontier that we're now working on is, I'm going to pause here for a second, and you're going to hear this audio. We now record the dispatch channel for the INDOT Traffic Management Center, so we can record the audio. And I'm just doing a couple audio clips that you should be able to hear on this. So I'll pause, and you'll hear me step through. I've got the narrative on the right.
One, Indy TMC 1050 interrupt. Go ahead. 865 eastbound on the right lane. I've got a passenger vehicle sideways. ISP started as a PI. Report to the driver's passed out. I do see the driver in the vehicle moving.
So really,
8321.
I'm 1023 with the right lane. Indy TMC, is it going?
87.
1051 has the vehicle, traffic control, all units at 10-8, all lanes are open.
so with that, I might just pause right here. And I guess my parting comment is, I hope I gave you a good view of how we're using some of these different data elements. I can't emphasize enough, do more good after actions, share those success stories. The first responders are proud of them, and they make absolutely outstanding training opportunities. And then I think it makes it easier to learn the lessons from ones where maybe they were maybe a little less good and there were opportunities to improve. So Joe, back to you.